I simply refused Su Ziding's help when she wanted to bathe me. She decided that I no longer had warm feelings for her. Su Ziding locked herself in her office, looking completely depressed. Early in the morning, I washed myself, and upon returning, I immediately felt something was wrong. There was an oppressive silence in the house. I leaned against the office door and it gave way, opening with a sharp sound. In the corner of the room, huddled in utter despair, sat Su Ziding. On her white shirt, I saw a strange design, a blood-red eye. I felt afraid and carefully approaching her, asked, "Su Ziding, what's happening to you?" My voice pierced the silence like a ray of light. Su Ziding slowly raised her head as if emerging from a deep trance. Seeing me, she instinctively hid her hands behind her back. "Go away, don't come near me," she whispered. She was shaking with terror. Without thinking, I walked up to her, crouched down, and hugged her tightly. I felt how tense her body was. I don't know how long she remained in this state or what torment she managed to endure. "Are you okay? Did I do something wrong?" I asked quietly. Su Ziding shook her head. "Of course not. How could you do anything wrong, Luo? It's my fault. I thought too much." She looked up and her eyes reflected such sadness that my heart sank. Even the corners of her eyes looked pitiful. I smiled at her, touched her face, gently asking about her condition, but then I noticed that she clenched her fist so hard that her nails began to bleed. I grabbed her hand, trying not to hurt her, and said softly, "My hands are completely frozen. Will you warm them up?" Su Ziding immediately grabbed my palm and pressed it to her chest, trying to share the warmth. "I shouldn't have woken you," she began to justify herself. "You were sleeping and I probably behaved incorrectly." She looked at my hand, feeling awkward. "I shouldn't have insisted on bathing you. I understand you're not used to such interference." "No, Liu, I was wrong about something else. Just tell me how to fix it and I'll do it immediately." "Please don't go," she said, trying to fight the nausea, her voice shaking. She seemed icy, as if there was no life left in her. It finally dawned on me, she reacted this way to my refusal of her help. How could she be so vulnerable and sensitive to little things? "I'm not mad at you, really. There's nothing terrible about what happened. What are you so afraid of?" She frowned. "Are you really not angry? Then why did you call me Su? You always called me by my name before." It turned out that I was wrong, judging by her reaction, and had been mistaken all this time. Su Ziding squeezed my hand convulsively. The tears she'd been trying so hard to hold back finally streamed down her cheeks. "Don't, Aluo, don't hit me. It's all my fault." I quickly touched her face, pressed my forehead to hers, stroked her hair soothingly, and helped her raise her head. "I was just joking. Why did you take it so seriously? And does a name really matter that much?" She nodded stubbornly. It was truly important to her. It was the only thing that connected us. I couldn't help but smile and, after thinking, pinched her chin. "If that's the case, maybe I should call you wife." Although it sounds too formal, calling someone by their first name is a bit casual. "How about Tian Tian? Do you like it?" Her mood changed dramatically. Su Ziding's gaze became piercing, and she looked at me as if I'd proposed something unthinkable. Instead of the expected argument, I received a completely different reaction. "If you don't like it, I can find something else," I added, feeling awkward. She stroked that same red eye on her robe and then nodded vigorously. "I really like it." "Aluo, are you really going to call me that?" "Tian Tian, you are very dear to me," I said, leaning closer and kissing her tenderly on the lips. Su Ziding's anger and anxiety began to subside. She touched her fingers to her lips and smiled happily. "Show me your hand," I asked, noticing something was wrong. "Why does it still hurt?" Su Ziding instantly tensed. Fear returned, and she tried to hide her hand and began shaking her head. "I'm not sick." "I'm not crazy, Aluo. I'm not sick. You've got it all wrong. It was an accident." I realized my words had alarmed her. "Tian Tian, you're the best, right? I never said you were sick. I'm just worried about your wound. After all, you harm yourself when you feel bad. How can I ignore this?" She calmed down a little, nodded, and slowly raised her hands. When she lifted her sleeves, my breath caught. There were 3 deep wounds on her forearms from which the blood had dried. I tried not to show how shocked I was, knowing that the slightest careless word from me could cause her to hurt herself again. "How did you do that? It really hurt, didn't it?" My voice trembled and I couldn't hide my anxiety. Su Ziding hid her hands behind her back and then slowly took out a dark leather belt. I sighed heavily. She was using this thing as a means of self-punishment. "I was wrong. This is just a punishment so I don't have to feel the pain. Aluo, don't worry so much. This is all for you. I'll try to behave better from now on. You can even hit me if I make a mistake again." She handed me the belt, looking at me with disarming sincerity. I had no words to describe how painful it was to watch. Let's take care of your wounds, okay? Su Ziding straightened up and extended her hands towards me, seeking support. Let me hold them, she said. We're going to have dinner. I hear voices in the living room. If I can't help, I'll have to go to the hospital. Su Ziding coldly said 2 words to Dr. Tang Ling, ice cold. Just kidding. Tang Ling quickly took a few steps back, unable to meet Su Ziding's gaze. Don't look at me like that. I finished treating the wound while Su Ziding was writing a note, then turned around and walked into a room I had never been to before. I looked inside. There was a single bed, medical books, oxygen equipment, lockers, and refrigerators. While I was wondering what to do next, a woman entered the room, that same Tang Ling. She put on a white coat and began to take plates, tools, and supplies out of the cupboard. It turned out she was a doctor. Looking at her, I couldn't help but wonder, is she really a professional? I must have been looking at Tang Ling for too long, because Su Ziding's expression darkened and her gaze became sharp as a knife. Feeling a chill on the back of my neck, I turned to Tianchen. What happened? Tang Ling's hands trembled, almost dropping the plate. She was shocked. This guy, he really won't die? Is this some kind of joke? No one in the world calls her that. She froze, unable to move. I'm waiting for you to clean up, Su Ziding said coldly. Don't forget to convey my wishes to Mr. Yang or just write out the bill. Try to save money. I'm not going to die to become a doctor. Su Ziding looked at me again, and her gaze, which had been icy just a second ago, became soft as water. Luo, look at me. I look pretty good, right? How do I compare to her? She nodded at Tang Ling. Tang Ling's eyes widened in horror as she hurriedly raised her hands in defense. It was obvious that she was mortally frightened. Her whole body was shaking. Tang Ling was completely crushed and did not dare to say a word. She was too afraid of Su Ziding to even object. Dr. Tang, hurry up and sort this out. Why are you so slow? I urged her. Su Ziding grabbed my hand and quietly asked, Luo, can you wait outside? I'm not used to having someone look at my wound so closely. It was a little awkward. I left, leaving the two of them alone, Su Ziding sitting on the bed and Tang Ling beginning to inspect the damage. Tang Ling froze, looking at Su Ziding with an expression of utter hopelessness. She bowed and muttered, I'm amazed at your tenacity. You consider me an enemy, but I'm only doing my job. Your husband simply looked at me. Why so much hostility? You don't understand. This world is full of people with bad intentions, Su Ziding snapped. If they try to take my husband away, I will do everything to keep him with me. Tang Ling's face turned pale. Sit down. It's time to bandage it. I promise it won't hurt. I'm not afraid of pain, Su Ziding replied briefly. Meanwhile, I was standing in the living room, glancing at the housekeeper. He looked worried, as if he knew something important. Uncle Joe, you've known Tianchen for a long time, right? I asked. Grandma said you've been looking after her since she was a child. Tell me, why is she like this? I want to help her. Chenzai, the housekeeper, who enjoyed great authority in the house, hesitated for a moment, but I saw sincerity in her eyes. The lady has a severe mental disorder, a borderline state. Her emotions are extremely extreme. I started working here when she was 10, she continued. But the old lady told me that when the lady was 5, her brother died in a car accident. The mother blamed her for it. Constant scolding and living in a locked room left her lonely. The house had a special small closet with no windows or light where she was locked as a punishment. My mother often asked, how did you die? Or did you kill your brother? Later, her grandmother took her in and her parents divorced and went abroad, never returning. I was shocked. How could the world produce such a mother? What kind of life had Tianchen led before she was rescued? Did any of her parents care? The housekeeper's eyes filled with tears. Her father was also under her mother's control. The entire family was under her dictatorship. Everything was strictly regulated, meal times, bath times down to the minute. Being late was punishable by punishment. Eventually, the father couldn't take it anymore and got divorced. Since then, the Su family has effectively fallen apart. I wanted to ask something else, but the clinic door swung open. Su Ziding came out to me. Luo, I adjusted my sleeves. Look, is everything okay now? Looking at her desire to be good in my eyes, I felt a sharp pain. What had she endured over the years? What horror lurked in her heart? It's no wonder the lights were constantly on throughout the mansion, even at night. She still fears the darkness she was locked in at age 5. Are you unhappy? I'm sorry, Luo. I'll fix it right now, she muttered. I hugged her tightly. Tian, you're doing great. Everything is wonderful. I'm very happy with you. I like you very much. Su Ziding's nervousness gradually subsided after my words. She raised her head and the worry in her eyes gave way to tenderness. Tang Ling, standing nearby, looked as if she'd seen a ghost. Su Ziding, is this a stroke or have you completely lost your mind? Why did you call your husband to give me a heart attack? Su Ziding slowly turned her head. The tenderness instantly vanished, replaced by a cold, empty gaze. Tang Ling hurriedly lowered her head, not daring to meet her gaze. I gently touched Su Ziding's head. Don't do that. Dr. Tang just helped you. Be polite, okay? She nodded and then slowly walked towards Tang Ling. She recoiled in fear. Su Ziding, murder is illegal. Don't do anything stupid. I won't complain. I'm sorry, Su Ziding, Tang Ling babbled. I sincerely apologize. Tang Ling stood motionless, involuntarily looking at Su Ziding. Su Ziding asked coldly, have I made myself clear? No, then I have to go. Mom is expecting me for dinner. Su Ziding turned to me and asked politely, did I do everything right? I just smiled apologetically. I stroked her head, praising her. My Tiantian is simply wonderful. Let's go back to the bedroom. I'm very tired. She looked at me hopefully. Will you help me get there? I nodded and, holding her carefully, led her back to the bedroom. In her room, Su Ziding examined herself. She was drenched in sweat and blood, making it impossible to simply lie down in bed. Luo, I need to go to the bathroom. You rest for now, she said. I'll help you, I snapped and headed to the bathroom to prepare the water, which fortunately was not too hot. Su Ziding froze by the bathtub, her head in her hands, her ears as red as ripe cherries. I turned around. She looked so shy that it touched me. She nervously pinched her leg. Can I do it myself? I promise I won't hurt the wound. I stood up slowly. It hurt to see her like this, but I gave in. Okay, be careful. Call me if you need anything. 12 minutes later, she emerged in a robe, drying her hair. She washed her face without disturbing the bandage. I sat her down on a chair, grabbed a towel, and began to carefully dry her hair. Don't keep your arms raised. It's bad for healing, I reminded her. Listen to me and sit. I'll do the rest myself, I said, finishing drying her hair with a hairdryer and gently stroking her head. Do you like my hair? She asked seriously. I had a bad feeling that if I said yes, she'd cut them off right away. I really like them, I replied, kissing her on the cheek. I felt awkward looking at us in the mirror. Even my ears turned traitorously red. The night passed peacefully, and in the morning I was awakened by a call. Sleepily, I grabbed the phone and asked, "Who is this?" It turned out to be Zio Chen calling about office business. I quickly answered the work questions and hung up without waiting for any unnecessary words. I woke up instantly and sat up in bed. Su Ziding, who was lying next to her, also sat up. What happened? Are you going to the office? Yes, and you, are you going to work? Su Ziding stood up, but halfway to the bathroom, she turned around. No, I'll take you to the police station myself and then I'll wait to take you home. After getting ready, a company car picked us up. In the car, she handed me a yogurt and watched as I took a few sips. I tried to push it aside, but she frowned and almost forced it to her mouth. Isn't it delicious? She asked quietly. I nodded, admitting that I didn't like the cheese that was in there. Su Ziding's expression darkened. She immediately told the butler that there shouldn't be any cheese in the house if I didn't like it. She was furious about the sandwich and threatened to fire the chef. I'll go and buy you something to eat myself, she said. It's unpleasant when you're hungry because you're so busy. It's okay, don't worry, I replied. You don't have to wait for me all day. I'll take a taxi or drive myself. Su Ziding remained silent, only looking at me with concern before lowering her head. When the car pulled up to the station, I could see she was upset. Wait, I'll call you when I'm done. Will you come pick me up? She immediately brightened. It seemed she had still been unsure whether I needed her, but now she realized that I really did need her. The atmosphere at the station was oppressive. All the investigators looked exhausted, with dark circles under their eyes. Suddenly, I heard a familiar voice. I saw Muji walking towards me. Zio Luo, why are you here? He obviously knew I would be called. I was surprised that they brought in Muji, a well-known psychologist in the city. The case was clearly serious. Muji nodded to me. We need to act quickly. How do you like the situation? I chuckled. You stole my words. I pulled the chair back against the wall and sat down, feeling tired. An officer approached us. Mr. Bai, Dr. Mu, it's good that you're here. We need your help with a case that happened the day before yesterday. Okay, I'll look into the details, I said, looking at my colleagues. Have you all gotten any sleep? Is there a choice? The policeman replied. This criminal must be caught immediately, otherwise there will be trouble. The details of the case were strictly classified. I only received brief information. I passed on my notes on the suspect's characteristics to the person who was in charge of drawing up the reports. He was so scared that he could hardly put words together. Muji shook his head. Quiet, go outside. He was clearly worried about this man's condition. When we were left alone, I called out to him, Muji, wait. I wanted to ask you about the symptoms of borderline personality disorder and how to deal with such people. Is treatment the most important thing? Muji froze. This man is your friend. This is not a friend, I replied. I can't say who it is, but this person is very important to me. Just answer. Muji looked at me thoughtfully. I don't know where you got that diagnosis, but if it's true, be careful. BPD is a serious problem that primarily affects emotional regulation. The patient experiences extreme emotional swings, Muji continued. Extremes in everything. If it's good, it's perfect. If it's bad, it's a disaster. I've already experienced all of this myself, I nodded seriously. Anything else? Well, that's the main thing. Muji explained. They act impulsively, are prone to self-harm, and if they enter into a relationship, they become dependent on their partner, like a part on a machine. He deliberately used the word mechanism to emphasize the severity of the condition. I couldn't resist asking, is this somehow connected to her family? It's possible, but I can't be sure without seeing the patient in person. Family history and living conditions often trigger this, but the recovery process is usually long. I replayed Su Ziding's symptoms in my head. Psychologically, it seemed serious, but could it be cured? Muji answered seriously, psychotherapy, medication, and most importantly, emotional support. Treating such patients is a difficult and painstaking process. I nodded, considering his words, and asked bluntly, if it is curable, will you help me? If you need me, just call me. It's a complicated illness, but I'm still an excellent specialist. There was a knock at the door. A staff member entered with 2 bowls of rice. Eat while you're on break, the ceremony is about to begin. Muji opened the bowl, sniffed, and raised his eyebrows. Is this the new season restaurant? That's way too expensive for a police budget. This definitely isn't from the department. The employee simply shrugged. Citizens really appreciate our work. Apparently someone decided to give us a gift. Yes, some well-wisher simply left a note at the gate, the officer explained. I'll check the food, I said, watching Brother Mew's hesitation. There's no poison, everything's fine. I pointed to the window where other colleagues were already eating their fill. Don't worry, we've already checked everything. Security camera footage, calls to the restaurant. There are no problems, a colleague assured us. And indeed, everyone ate with gusto. I felt proud. People valued our work so highly, it was impossible to let them down. Brother Mew, however, remained true to his caution and limited himself to water, deciding not to take any risks. By evening, the test results were stable. When I finished, Muji was still being interrogated. Picking up my phone, I saw 20 missed calls and went cold. Almost all of them were from Liu Ruyan, but one was from Su Ziding. I haven't yet dealt with that bitch Liu Ruyan. In my previous life, she was involved with Shen Fang, and her betrayal led to my death. Now, after being reincarnated, I will never forget that pain. I would take revenge on both of them, but first I had to pay attention to Su Ziding. As I dialed her number, I heard a familiar voice. Liu, are you finished? He sounded surprisingly relaxed. Give me a couple of minutes, Tianchen. Sorry, I wasn't allowed to use my phone at work. Are you okay? Were you very worried? Silence fell over the room. Su Ziding replied almost immediately, I'm fine, I'm just a little bored. There was a tenseness in her voice, as if she were trying to contain her feelings. I understood how hard it was for her to be alone. I've had enough, she said. Can I come get you? Sure, I'll see you at the police station. I ran out into the street and, seeing her, opened my arms wide. She was surprised, but immediately rushed towards me. Hugging her, I felt how much she was shaking. Are you stupid? Running so dangerously, you might fall. She buried her face in my shoulder, whispering about how much she loved me and how scared she was. You're the president, behave yourself, I chuckled, trying to hide my excitement, and sat her in the car. Let's go home, there's no point in making a scene at the police station. She didn't let go of my hand on the way. When we were apart, I hadn't realized how deeply we were connected, but now I felt like I couldn't even concentrate on work without her. I knew she had spent the whole day at the gate waiting for me. Han Chuan was waiting for us at the villa. Mr. Su, here are the documents to sign. Will you go to the company tomorrow? Su Ziding looked at him with a friendly but absent-minded expression. Han Chuan hesitated, looking at me with a smile. Say hello to the master. Su Ziding grabbed my chin and looked at me with a guilty smile. You weren't in the company today. I sheepishly adjusted her hand. Sorry, Liu, I've been waiting for you all day. I didn't mean to disturb your work, I just really missed you. I felt sorry for her. You're such a fool, I said. You can't wait for me every time I'm at work. I understood that simple words would not calm her down, but until I had to go anywhere, I decided to devote all my time to her and to revenge on Liu Ruyan. I was ready to do my job, but now she came first. Su Ziding stood obediently by my side while I was there. Seeing that she needed to do some work, I said, Tian Tian, you work while I go upstairs. Su Ziding quickly signed the documents, letting Han Chuan go. After taking a bath, I called Liu Ruyan again, feeling anger boiling inside me. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you answering? Luo Chen, stop being stubborn, she said. I started laughing. Liu Ruyan, what makes you think I'm obligated to answer you? Who do you think you are? Did something happen? If I weren't plotting revenge, I would have stopped talking to you even earlier. Perhaps Liu Ruyan didn't expect me to speak to her like that since I used to be more gentle, but I was furious at her words and wasn't about to stand on ceremony. She tried to change her tone. Luo Chen, don't be angry. I heard from Yu Zong that you want to marry Su Ziding, but she's crazy. Heartless, she continued, she will torture you to death. Tell me where you are and I will come and get you. I suppressed my anger but said clearly, Su Ziding is my wife and I will not allow you to talk about her like that again. This is my first and last warning. Liu Ruyan, be careful when you open your mouth, I added. I hung up and threw the phone on the table, and when I turned around, I saw Su Ziding sitting right by the door. She was pale and her face seemed completely frozen. Sorry, she whispered, I didn't know you were talking. She turned and walked away, and there was so much melancholy in her hunched back, as if she were an abandoned pet. I quickly ran up to her and hugged her tightly from behind. Su Ziding was clearly in a very bad state. She was shaking, but she froze in place, not knowing what to do. Did you hear everything? I turned her towards me. Even though we were face to face, she avoided looking me in the eyes. Yes, she heard everything. She knew Liu Ruyan was looking for me, and it hurt her. I'll go out and you rest, she said and tried to run away. I caught up with her, grabbed her hand and showed her the phone screen. I wanted to tell you when I got the phone back, but I had to do it now. I didn't hide anything, and in front of her, I blacklisted Liu Ruyan's number. Su Ziding froze, realizing that I was actually willing to break up with Liu Ruyan for her. I hugged her tightly. She buried her face in my hair and I could feel her ragged breathing. Su Ziding calmed down a little. She pressed her neck to my chin, lightly touched my lips and froze as if afraid to believe what was happening. What happened? I asked, touching her chin. Nothing, she whispered, I'm just nervous. She nodded, her voice sounding hoarse and unusually gentle. The next day, Su Ziding left for the company, but I could feel how attached we were to each other. Separation was difficult for both of us. She sat in an empty office and only my voice was heard in her head. Work was not going well at all. If it weren't for Han Chuan's caution, she would have made mistakes in management long ago, but now she had no time for business. She used to live for the company, but now work lost its meaning. The only thing that mattered was the time spent with me. Remembering our morning breakfast, she felt warm, as if from the winter sun. For her, I was the only source of light. She was always so quiet, but her inner world was full of feelings. Come back early, she said, giving me a toast. Mr. Shen told me to let you go, I'll go with you. Shen Fuguang called her 2 days in a row. She didn't want to return to her father's house, but it was inevitable. Actually, I can go back alone, I said. Dad just asked me to come, don't worry about work. I didn't want Su Ziding to come with me. I was afraid that Shen Fang would start acting rudely, especially after he saw us together that day. Su Ziding remained silent and simply went to the company after breakfast. Out of boredom, I was scrolling through the news and saw a police report about solving a serial murder case, 4 women in 3 months. I became suspicious and wrote to Muji, have you seen the news? The answer came quickly, I saw it, but a good consultant doesn't ask unnecessary questions. I chuckled, I'm just curious, nothing special. After a while a message came, that's the whole point. I frowned, feeling that there was something more to this matter. The housekeeper's voice interrupted my thoughts. Sir, the driver is ready, the gifts are in the car. What time do we leave? Su Ziding took care of the gifts in advance. Yes, everything is ready, the driver will deliver them after we arrive. I was touched by her attention. Entering the wardrobe, I saw the clothes she had prepared, a gray suit for me and a soft blue dress for her. I put on a dress and we drove to the Shen family's house. The car stopped and the driver began to unload the gifts that Su Ziding had prepared. Dad, I'm here, why do you need me? Shen Fuguang put down his phone and took off his glasses, looking at me with displeasure. Why is he alone? And Su Ziding didn't come. Shen Fan, hearing the noise, jumped out of the next room and began to fuss around, joyfully repeating, "You're back, you're back." I was irritated by his behavior, but tried not to show it. "If you came back just for the sake of formality, you didn't have to come," I said. "I'm your son-in-law. I came back because I'm cold here." "Then you'd better not get married at all," he snapped. "I'm a good person, don't pressure me," I retorted. "By the way, Sister Ruyan will be here soon. She wanted to discuss something. You don't mind, do you?" "Liu Ruyan, what is she doing here?" I felt a sense of foreboding, and I was about to write to Su Ziding, but Shen Fang beat me to it. "Brother, I saw you that night," he said. "Sister Ruyan's heart belongs to me. She's only here for the money mother left her. It's a shame she loves me and not you." "She has no problems with money," he continued. "It was her mother who insisted on marrying you. She was thinking about me all this time." I looked at him in bewilderment, who had even convinced Shen Fang that Liu Ruyan loved him. "Well then," I replied, "take her for yourself. Hold her tight, but remember, if I accidentally took her from you, you'll have nowhere to cry." Shen Fan stopped short, looking at something behind me. I turned around. "Tian Tian, are you here? I thought you weren't coming." I walked up to Su Ziding, taking her hand as usual. "How could I not come? Did you really think I'd let someone intimidate you?" she replied. Shen Fan stood there awkwardly. Shen Fuguang, coming out to the noise, tried to smooth things over. "Children's games, Mr. Su, don't pay attention to it." Su Ziding nodded and calmly asked, "So, they're trying to poison our Liu here?" Shen Fuguang was stunned, not knowing what to answer. Su Ziding gave me a careful look and then turned to my father. "Mr. Shen, you may not know, but I'm not the type to let things go unpunished. If anyone dares to offend my Liu, I will make sure he regrets it." I smiled gratefully at her. Su Ziding gently touched my hand, calming me down. At that moment, Wu Mei burst in. "No one is poisoning anyone. Where's Ruyan?" A voice came from behind the door. "I'm here, Auntie." Liu Ruyan entered with a bag. Su Ziding immediately politely handed the bag to Wu Mei. "I brought you a bird's nest." Mei beamed and pulled everyone to the dining table. "Why are you so serious?" Ruyan whispered to me. "You don't even let me be the center of attention." Su Ziding silently put a bowl of shrimp in front of me and started eating. Shen Fuguang suddenly announced, "I called this meeting to announce Ruyan and Shen Fang's engagement." No one laughed except him. Su Ziding peeled shrimp for me, and I ate with appetite. Shen Fang and Liu Ruyan exchanged signs of affection under the table. Wu Mei bustled about, ordering the servants to add more food. Shen Fuguang continued, "I want them to get married. Shen Fang loves her, and I will help him with that." It was madness. I had videos and secret emails proving their dirty games. Let them get married, I'm not afraid, I thought. Shen Fan beamed with joy, expecting my defeat. I just calmly ate the shrimp from Su Ziding, completely ignoring his gaze. And Su Ziding glared at him in such a way that he seemed ready to sink into the ground. He cowardly averted his eyes and muttered softly, "Thank you, Mr. Shen, I will take care of Ruyan." Shen Fuguang was satisfied with the result. Mei was outraged. "This is my son's wedding. How can you decide everything without me?" She was against it, believing that the Liu family's status did not match her ambitions, and she didn't want to lose to me. "Mom, what are you talking about? I've loved Sister Ruyan since we were kids," Shen Fang blurted out. Su Ziding, sitting next to me, carefully placed a piece of fish on me after removing all the bones. "Be careful, don't prick yourself," she said tenderly. Wu Mei laughed. "Look, Liu, what a caring wife you have. He's already an adult, there's no need to coddle him like that," she added, trying to prick Su Ziding. Su Ziding replied impatiently, "I'm not a matchmaker, but I'll take care of my husband myself." Silence fell over the room. Everyone but me lost their appetite. Shen Fuguang, seeing Su Ziding's influence, began to talk to her about business. I got bored and started scrolling through my phone's feed. "Luo Chen, drink some water, you've eaten a lot." Liu Ruyan handed me a bottle. I noticed that Shen Fang and Wu Mei had disappeared somewhere, leaving the three of us alone. "Don't drink," Su Ziding snapped, taking the bottle from me. "You can't accept treats from strangers. The world is full of dangerous people." Liu Ruyan laughed awkwardly. "Luo Chen, I don't understand why you even married Su Ziding." I flushed with rage, but I heard Ruyan whisper, "Is he forcing you? We've always loved each other. If he threatens you, call me." "What are you going to do? I can handle it," I said, looking at Liu Ruyan with an icy gaze that held no trace of affection. "Do you want me to say that Su Ziding is forcing me? Will you then take me back, or will you just beat her up right now?" Liu Ruyan's face turned pale. If that were true, I would have thought of something. I won't let you live an unhappy life. I like you more than Su Ziding. I'm not as rich as she is, but believe me, I'll soon surpass her. I graduated from a prestigious university. I have opportunities. Your father donated money to the school so you could study there, I snapped. Don't you dare call my university unprestigious. And where did Su Ziding go to school? You better keep quiet. She's better than you in everything. I can say one thing, she's a good person and you're just a bitch. Liu Ruyan shook with rage and pointed a trembling finger at me. Luo Chen, I'll show you yet, hit me, come on. At that moment, Su Ziding jumped out of nowhere and blocked my path. She grabbed Liu Ruyan's arm tightly. A chill emanated from her and her gaze was frighteningly empty. If you dare threaten him again, I will kill you. Her voice sounded like ice. Liu Ruyan fell to the ground with a scream, her wrist twisted. Shen Fuguang, Shen Fang, and Wu Mei rushed out of the office at the noise. Upon seeing what had happened, they silently called an ambulance. Su Ziding pulled my hand, her face indifferent. Let's go home, it's getting dark. I obediently followed her, unable to utter a word. How could she break Liu Ruyan's wrist in an instant? But I felt her anger was only because she dared to threaten me. At home, she dragged me into the bedroom and then coldly let go of my hand without looking at me. If I hadn't come, would you have gone to her? Do you regret choosing me? You still miss her. Mr. Luo, you said you loved me, but how much room is left in your heart for me? I know, I muttered. I didn't know how to answer these questions. Why are you angry? Why are you calling me Mr. Luo? She slapped her head, clenching her fists. She wanted to explain, but she couldn't find the words. She felt that if she continued, everything would fall apart. I said it, she whispered, I said it all. She turned and walked into the bedroom. I was surprised before she would have thrown a tantrum or scolded me. But now everything was different. I realized that she was silent not out of reluctance, but because of a deep self-doubt caused by her illness. I took a deep breath. She heard Liu Ruyan's words and took them personally. I should have told Liu Ruyan right away that I didn't regret anything. Because of my attempt to anger that bitch, Su Ziding is now suffering so much. I rushed into her office, pushing the door. Su Ziding stood in the corner, facing the wall, her shoulders shaking tensely. I can break my arm if you don't want me to, she muttered. I'll do it myself. She grabbed a heavy object from the table and swung it at her hand. I ran up to her in horror and grabbed her wrist. No, don't do this. If you hurt yourself, I'll be very angry. She flinched and dropped the object on the floor. She grabbed my shoulders. I'm not myself. I'm not like that. I'll obey, just don't get angry. I didn't expect it to work. She really was that afraid of my anger. I carefully lifted her face with my palms. Her eyes were red from crying, her nose was flushed, and her brows were furrowed in a pained expression. I hugged her and kissed her on the cheek. Tian, don't cry, let me explain everything. She let out a barely audible sob. I stroked her head like a little child. There is no place for Liu Ruyan in my heart. He was never there. She asked if you forced yourself on me. I wanted to say no, but why should I explain myself to that bitch? She nodded obediently. Really, it's not necessary. I just wanted to piss her off, I continued. Why should I let her feel like a winner? I don't regret anything. You're so wonderful. How could I regret our marriage? She looked at me with an empty, searching gaze. Liu, I know that I am in your heart, but I am so afraid that you will stop loving me. I pulled her towards me. You're not wrong. It's my fault. I didn't explain everything in time. And don't ever call me Mr. Lo again, okay? Su Ziding buried her face in my chest. I'm sorry, Liu. I won't do it again. We won't be mad at each other anymore, okay? Okay, she whispered. I'll never be mad at you, no matter what you do. After taking a few steps, I remembered that she was stressed. Are you tired? Maybe we should rest. She shook her head, clinging to me. I don't want to let you go. Liu, can I be punished for behaving like this? I got carried away with the embroidery on her clothes, slowly working my way up to her lips. The other areas took much longer. She heard my whisper, her heart stopped, then started beating faster, her face flushed. Okay, she hugged me and dragged me into the bedroom. I, a person who is always used to acting decisively, paid much more attention to the issue of intimacy this time. Su Ziding was very tired. It was as if she was working on autopilot, unaware of anything. We tossed and turned for hours, after which we even had to take a shower and blow dry our hair. She even changed the bed linen and tidied up the bathroom. Liu, don't fidget, go to bed, she grumbled. Returning to the bedroom, I felt awkward. Standing by the bed, I debated whether to lie down with her or stay on the couch. Liu had already fallen asleep, and Su Ziding took a picture of the remote control to remember the settings. I felt a little dizzy, but I quickly came to my senses. I can sleep with you. Otherwise, what? Do you want to live separately? We just got married. She threatened me like a knight with a sword. I playfully stabbed the knife into the blanket. She wrapped her arms around my waist, whispering, "Why did you train your body so well?" My voice was quiet. "Of course, for you, Tianchen. I trained to show my wife the results. Now you are my wife and only you can touch me. But remember, Liu, the body is for the wife's use only. Allowing other women to look at it outside the home is not the best thing for a husband to do." The next day, Tianchen had to get up at 9 in the morning. She couldn't just skip work, and Han Chuan was always complaining. She rolled over and lay on my chest like a little animal. "Liu, I've earned enough money. I don't want to work. If Han Chuan keeps whining, I'll transfer him to the security department. Let him monitor the CCTV monitors." I laughed and pinched her cheek. "If you want me to be by your side, I'll go with you to the company, right?" Su Ziding suddenly perked up. There was genuine excitement in her voice. "Liu, are you serious? Can you really work with me?" I nodded. "Of course, but won't it distract you? They say big companies have strict rules." "Not at all," she snapped. "You're my husband. We have a lot in common." After washing, she took me by the hand and led me downstairs. At the stairs, we saw Han Chuan, who was talking on the phone with an unperturbed expression. "President, you've done all the math, haven't you? What's wrong with you lately? One moment you're not showing up for work, the next you're late," he grumbled. Seeing Su Ziding's face, which was darker than a cloud, he quickly stopped himself. "Sorry, I was too strict." But Su Ziding wasn't about to forgive him. "Starting today, come an hour before work starts, and you'll water the silver tree in the backyard." There wasn't a tree in the courtyard and Han Chuan was at a loss, but the boss ordered it and he had to agree. "Okay, Mr. Su, I'll start tomorrow." Su Ziding added, "No, don't water it. You'll run around the tree for an hour every morning." I saw Han Chuan swallow, all because of his tongue. At breakfast, she immediately noticed that I didn't like toast and sandwiches. This time, Chinese food was served. She watched my every move. "Just a piece of bread," I frowned when she became worried again. Su Ziding immediately responded, "You don't like it. It's too sweet, right?" She looked disappointed and immediately put the dish away. I tried it and it really was too sweet. Uncle Joe was immediately instructed not to make sweets in the morning. The butler bowed. "Forgive me, miss, I will improve." After eating, she went to the wardrobe to pick out matching outfits for us. She chose a sporty style, saying it would be more comfortable, and she put the watch on my wrist herself. I wanted to object that the dress didn't match the watch, but when I saw her wearing the same one, I realized how attentive she was to detail. Su Ziding's car was parked right outside the entrance to the office skyscraper today, the tallest building in the city, which belonged to her company. The guard at the door stood at attention, greeting her with redoubled zeal. Usually Su Ziding didn't respond to greetings, but today she didn't let go of my hand and specially introduced me. The guard muttered embarrassedly, "I even feel awkward." I blushed. We entered the presidential elevator. She usually moved quickly, but today she walked slowly, savoring every minute. I looked around her office. It was spacious, but otherwise no different from a standard presidential office. "Liu, just hang out here. If you get bored, tell me, I'll be there," she said, sitting down at the table. Han Chuan began to bring workers. I stood by the shelf and watched. They spread a clean blanket on the floor and brought in cabinets and mobile platforms. I was shocked when the workers started bringing in a huge 3-door refrigerator. My surprise knew no bounds. Han Chuan, at her command, stocked the cupboards with my favorite snacks and the fridge with fresh fruit, coconuts, and soda. We even ordered fried chicken. "This is all for Liu. No one is allowed to touch anything," Su Ziding commanded. When everyone left, I approached her, leaning on the table. Tian, there's no need to be so meticulous. I'm not picky, relax." She learned a lot from me but shook her head. "I know you are simple, but I can't allow myself to be like that. I'm your wife, it's my duty to take care of you. Please accept that and don't object, okay?" I nodded happily. Sitting down on the swing in the office, I picked up a pen and paper and began to draw something. Su Ziding finished her chores, stood up, and washed her hands thoroughly. She poured herself a cup of liacheng blood lily tea, adding a little watermelon juice. Coming up to me, she saw that I was only drawing an outline. "Liu, drink some juice, it's hot. Are you feeling stuffy?" I felt comfortable. I reached my hands towards the glass. She herself brought the straw to my lips. I took a couple of sips and she nodded approvingly. Seeing my reaction, she beamed and rolled up a small cart of treats. Aluo, I know snacks aren't always healthy, but these are for babies and they're good quality. Try them. If you like them, I'll have them purchased for the office. I understand, keep working, I replied without looking up from my drawing. She nodded and returned to the table, but continued to glance at me every now and then. After a soft knock, Han Chuan entered with a man in a formal suit. Mr. Su, this is the representative of the Ministry of Commerce, bringing the meeting minutes. The man, without waiting for an invitation, hurriedly approached the table. Mr. Su, Mr. Han said that you need an explanation regarding the current problem. Su Ziding didn't even raise her head but simply silently pointed her finger at the mark on the document. Can you see for yourself what the mistake is here? The man hesitated, quickly scanned the text, turned pale, and nodded seriously. Yes, Mr. Su, I'll fix everything right now. When he left, I put down my pencil, stood up and walked over to the table, placing my sketch in front of her. She raised her head and laughed softly. Aluo, are you bored? Come here, I'll keep you company. I shook my head and pointed to the paper. She looked down. It was my sketch, her profile, every feature rendered with astonishing precision. Aluo, you're amazing. How do you draw like that? Do you like it? I just had nothing better to do, so I thought about you and drew a sketch. I really like it, it's just super. Thank you, Aluo, keep drawing. I'll go and take a look around the company, I said. Han Chuan, noticing my departure, walked me to the office. I was walking down the hallways with a cup of coffee in my hand, heading to the gym downstairs when I heard women's voices. Who is this teacher? What did he do to earn Mr. Su's attention? I like Mr. Su's looks, his voice, said a woman of about 30. A male voice replied, forget it, it's a waste of time. He came here because of Mr. Su, you don't even know he dumped his girlfriend for him. The woman commented with low contempt. A husband is important, you need to find a worthy one, and this one, he's obviously just a gigolo living off Mr. Su's money. Many young people now want to eat soft bread, someone chuckled, and I couldn't help but cough in indignation. They noticed that they were being eavesdropped on. Who's there? Show yourself, the woman shouted. Are you an intern? What department? I'll help you find your way, she added, looking me up and down. I was taller than 160 cm, but judging by the look in her eyes, she didn't even appreciate me. Don't look me in the eye, she continued. Even though you seem to meet my criteria, I'm still looking for a husband who's a security guard. My jaw dropped. Why does such self-righteous stupidity exist in the world? You're dressed in rags, she persisted, but if you think I'm normal, I might consider making you my boyfriend. Marriage, I'm not promising. Her insolence made me dizzy. Are you sick? I blurted out and wanted to leave, but someone grabbed my arm. Which office do you work in? I'll walk you there. In the president's office, Su Ziding's cold voice came from behind her, her tone tinged with dangerous tension. The woman turned around in fear. Mr. Su, I'm just helping an intern. Before she could finish speaking, Su Ziding slapped her. The impact was so powerful that the woman was thrown back and fell, knocking over office equipment. She covered her face with her hands, unable to make a sound. Su Ziding approached her coldly as if she were a lifeless statue. The woman stared at her expensive high-heeled shoes, trembling with horror. Su Ziding hit her again, causing the woman to bleed from her nose and mouth. I'm sorry, Mr. Su, I was wrong. Stop hitting me, she begged. I ran over and grabbed Su Ziding's hand. Tian, don't be angry. She looked at me and pain flashed in her eyes. Aluo, it's my fault. I'm sorry I upset you. She was ready to hit herself for causing me trouble. I smiled tenderly. Tian, you haven't done anything wrong. It's her fault. Let's not waste our energy on her. She froze, waiting for my decision. I stroked her head. Everything will be fine, right? She nodded. The anxiety subsided. She said to me, Aluo, go back to the office. I'll handle this myself. I obeyed, my expression frozen as I stared at the bleeding woman. Su Ziding looked icy again. Her jealousy towards my honor was frighteningly strong. Tian, I want to be with you, I said. She took my hand and looking at the woman, said crisply, Luo Chen is my husband, my teacher. How dare you even think that you are worth even his gaze? Yes, I was wrong, Mr. Su, forgive me. The woman choked on tears and blood mixed with something white flowed from her mouth. I took a closer look. It was a knocked-out tooth. Su Ziding didn't want to waste any more time on her. Go see the doctor. Han Chuan will pay the bills. She gestured for me to go into the office. She said to Han Chuan, get rid of this HR department and do the rest yourself. Han Chuan beamed, I'll do it, they're in the office right now. She let go of my hand and, breathing heavily, walked over to the table. I was furious about the whole scene. What are you waiting for? She suddenly walked out from behind the desk, holding the keyboard in her hands. She threw the keyboard in front of me. I looked at her, not understanding what was happening. Suddenly, she sank to her knees right on the keyboard, her head bowed. I was wrong, Aluo. It's my fault. I mismanaged the company and allowed this incident to happen. Forgive me. I quickly tried to lift her up, but she was trembling. Forgive me, Aluo. Are you angry? Tell me, what else did I do wrong? I will fix everything. The door swung open and Han Chuan entered, discussing something. Seeing Su Ziding kneeling at the keyboard, her face tear-stained, he froze for a second, then bolted out of the office, closing the door tightly behind him. Darling, I told you it's not your fault, I said softly. HR is to blame. They're in a much worse situation than you are. It's not your responsibility. Hearing this, she calmed down a little. But she was still nervous. I pointed to my face. She timidly, as if afraid of causing me discomfort, kissed me on the cheek. I stroked her eyebrows with pity, feeling her tremble. I smiled at her. See, I let you kiss me. That means I'll never leave you, never. You better never quit, otherwise I won't survive this. She slowly stood up, still feeling embarrassed. Tian, where did you learn to kneel on the keyboard? I laughed, making her put the keyboard back on the computer. Someone told me that's what you do when you apologize. It's my fault for letting this happen, she whispered. You don't want to forgive me? Then I'll punish myself differently. I must remember this lesson so that next time you don't leave me. I just want to be the person you love the most, she added. I didn't know what to answer. Her willingness to change for me was both frightening and admirable at the same time. I took her hands and looked into her eyes. Tian, you don't have to become anyone. I like you just the way you are. Be yourself. I'll be happy if you just be happy. Thank you, Aluo. She clung to me, her condition finally stabilizing. I decided to take a break and started looking through her company's accounts. Something about them seemed suspicious. It didn't look like an honest business. Lo, since you have such an analytical mind, maybe you should consider changing careers. We could swap roles in the future, she suggested. I looked at the building across the street. Torture isn't always violence. Sometimes it's enough to take away everything a person holds dear. I have come up with a plan to strike at the egoism of those who tried to humiliate us. Lo, Su Ziding's voice trembled and she dropped the phone. I walked up to her, but she grabbed the phone first, looking at me with a strange expression. What happened, Tianxin? She remained silent, staring at me straight in the eye. Finally, she smiled. It's okay. I've finished my business. Let's go have lunch. What do you want? We went to an expensive restaurant with a group of friends. I knew the entire management would see us there together, and it would be a public confession. Soon the whole company knew who Mr. Su was to me. She peeled the shrimp, placed them in a clean bowl, and removed the pears and kiwi from the fruit salad. Don't add any more to her salad, she ordered the restaurant. How do you know I don't like these fruits? I asked in surprise. I know everything about you, she smiled. Aluo, just eat, I'll take care of the rest. Everything was going well, and the awards team sent confirmation that the matter was settled. Under her gentle but persistent pressure, I agreed to go to the dinner party. I chose a discreet white suit. We had just entered when a woman in a provocative red dress appeared. She was clearly seeking Su Ziding's attention. Her appearance was striking, but her gaze seemed empty. Su Ziding looked at her with disdain and didn't even turn her head. Hey, you're so passionate and he doesn't even look. Are you even human? The woman was clearly irritated. She turned to me. This is Lo Chen, right? The same Aluo. Su Ziding introduced me. Yes, this is Aluo, my legally recognized husband. And then she added for me, this is Mo Jinchun, the CEO of Dongli Group. Mo Jinchun extended his hand to me. Nice to meet you. I'm not one to live off my parents. I work hard. And I'm Su Ziding's best friend, her only friend. Do you understand? She hinted. Su Ziding looked at her with an icy gaze and squeezed my hand tightly. If you don't take your claws away from my husband, I will break them. Relax, it's just a hand, I tried to reassure her. Mo Jinchun, as the host of the evening, was busy with the guests, so he only exchanged a few words with us and left. Su Ziding led me to the dessert table. Aluo, this black cake looks delicious. I'll try it first. If it's too sweet, don't eat it. She took a bite and silently put her fork down. The taste was terrible, and she couldn't understand how anyone could serve something like that to guests. You still eat dessert? I thought presidents only drank water, I joked. She just sighed, knowing it was going to be a long evening. A young man approached me. What is your relationship with Su Ziding? I saw you hugging. I didn't recognize him. He looked young, but I decided to be cautious. Who are you? Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. My last name is Su and my first name is Su Buyu. I'm Su Ziding's brother, he replied. I knew Su Ziding's parents divorced when she was little and her mother went abroad, so this guy was her father's son from another marriage. You and Su Ziding are the children of the same father, right? I asked. Su Buyu chuckled, clever, Su Ziding wouldn't tell you such things. Nice to meet you, son-in-law. He turned out to be quite pleasant to talk to, and I nodded, accepting his words. It's a pity, he sighed, Su Ziding always only liked the beautiful and worthy. I think you two are very compatible. Excuse me, I couldn't help but laugh. Liu and I have been together for a long time, you can call me son-in-law, Su Ziding interrupted us as she approached. Su Buyu's expression instantly changed upon seeing his sister. Sister, why are you here? I was just chatting with my brother-in-law. Although he wanted to be closer to his sister, her cold gaze always scared him to the point of trembling, as if he saw danger in front of him. Su Ziding placed her hand on my shoulder. Liu, this is my father's son. If he offends you in any way, speak up immediately. No one in the Su family has the right to offend you. Su Buyu only nodded silently as he listened to her instructions. I laughed. Buyu just said hello, he didn't offend me. Su Ziding gave him a cold look, causing him to quickly retreat. Sister, I understand everything. Who would dare to offend your husband? The more they talked like this, the more I wanted to know, why was everything so complicated in their family? Okay, Su Ziding said, I'm busy with the guests now, but since my son-in-law likes you, look after him while I'm away. Don't worry, sister, I'll take care of my brother-in-law, Buyu replied. As she left, she whispered to me, remember, if someone upsets you, tell me right away. I'll solve everything. Don't worry, I replied, go to work. I bowed to her, and at that moment I received a message from Fuyu. The plan was entering its decisive stage. I responded with an emoji and was distracted by a short video. Looking at Su Ziding's figure, I thought, there is no one more beautiful than her in this world. You're still as naive as ever, someone's voice said. I turned around and saw Liu Ruyan. How did she even get here? No one invited her. She took advantage of the fact that the Mo family had invited Shen Fuguang and snuck into the banquet after him. I laughed. I have terrible taste if I look at someone like you. Liu Ruyan's face turned white. Liu, if you don't change, you yourself will become the last victim. You didn't like to talk much before. Where does all this confidence come from? I looked at her with disdain. Miss Liu, we don't know each other, and don't forget you're engaged to Shen Fang. You shouldn't chat with a married man, I snapped. I glanced at Su Ziding. She was busy, but I felt like she was watching me. Her eyes were full of foreboding. Liu Ruyan, not noticing my concern, continued, Shen Fang didn't want to get engaged, but his father forced him, and I love you with all my heart. Stop, I interrupted. We were never close. Don't make things up that never happened. In my heart there is only Su Ziding. Don't come here again, I said, getting ready to leave. She grabbed my hand, but at that moment there was a clap. I stroked my head, wondering what had happened. Su Ziding stood next to her, her gaze ready to kill. Liu Ruyan, if you touch him again, I will destroy your company to the ground, she said in an icy voice. I regretted starting this conversation. My efforts to create a plan could have been thwarted. Su Ziding, seeing me walking towards her, ended her conversation with her business partner. Qi Dong, I'm sorry, we'll discuss the project another time. She came up to me and hugged me tightly around the waist. I need to go home with my husband. Tian, did you understand correctly? I just wanted to drive her away. I hate her, I explained, burying my face in her shoulder. I know you love only me. I saw you push her away. Good job, she said, holding me tightly. But next time just tell me, don't get your hands dirty on her. It hurts me to see you nervous. Liu Ruyan turned around, her arm hurt, but I saw that Su Ziding had suffered much more, holding back her anger for me. Liu Ruyan warned me, I told you to stay away from my teacher. Are you seeking death? Su Ziding frowned. The man in black bronze exuded undisguised aggression. She caught my quiet voice, Liu, let's go home. I had just made a scene with Mo Jinchun. I had had enough. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan visibly relaxed, though her doubts remained. She still believed that Luo Chen, meaning me, should be in her teacher's place, but she couldn't do anything about it. As I approached the car, I glanced at Su Ziding. What are you planning to do? Don't you dare ruin my plan. I have my own arrangements for that. Su Ziding shifted hesitantly from foot to foot, her expression cold and distant. The silence dragged on, and it was unnerving. So what do you want? For me to do something or just leave things as they are? Tian, don't interfere. I want to sort this out myself. Believe me, I don't feel anything for him, but I don't want him dead either. I know you can help me, but there are things I need to deal with on my own. These words calmed Su Ziding's nervousness a little. I nodded seriously. Give me your hand. I understand, Aluo, just don't exhaust yourself too much. She tried to convince herself she could cope, but so far to no avail. Previously, Su Ziding had flatly refused treatment, denying any mental health issues. She considered psychologists charlatans, but now the situation has changed. If she doesn't start resolving her internal conflicts, I might simply get tired and she'll only get worse. We reached the edge of the road where the car was parked. A man in a gray suit approached us. Su Ziding smiled welcomingly. What a coincidence, I didn't see you at the event. Are you leaving already? Su Ziding turned around, her face filled with helplessness. She nodded slightly without saying a word. The man continued, Zitian, it's been a while. Are you busy? There's a class reunion next week and everyone's been asking to invite you. I decided to give it a try. I got out of the car, stood next to Su Ziding, and looked at this important-looking man. He looked good. He became embarrassed under my gaze and introduced himself. Hello, I'm Gao Wen, Zitian's classmate. And you? This is my teacher. Su Ziding took my hand. Gao Wen, I won't be coming to the meeting. I don't have time. I have to accompany my husband. Sorry, we have to go. Although she appeared calm on the outside, I noticed irritation in her eyes. I was a little confused. Why was she so angry over turning down a classmate? Gao Wen also looked stunned. When she called me her husband, he was clearly furious, and Su Ziding herself was extremely upset. Mo Jinchun ran up to us. Don't leave, Su Ziding, what's the rush? He looked dumbfounded as he looked at us. Gao Wen, when did you get back? Where are you from? He tried to intervene, but Gao Wen was pushed aside. I spoke to Sit-in. She said she was married. How is that possible? I was only away for 2 years. Why would she want to get married? Gao Wen was clearly on the verge of a breakdown, his eyes red. Su Ziding, you're joking, right? Are you just mad at me? How could you get married? Things were clearly tense between them. I whispered to her to get in the car and let me handle it myself. I didn't know how exactly Su Ziding would resolve this conflict. Were they a couple? Had Gao Wen gone abroad? At that moment I was certain. Su Ziding would choose no one else over me. The past didn't matter. Gao Wen shouted, is it because I'm late? If I'd come back earlier, things would have been different, right? I took a closer look. This guy even looked a bit like me. No, Su Ziding replied curtly. Mo Jinchun added guiltily. Su Ziding didn't invite him. She didn't even know he was back. Gao Wen looked at me in the car. No, I'm sorry, Ziding, it's my fault. Don't be angry, let's not make a scene. I calmly leaned back in my seat and closed the door. Su Ziding was shocked. She knocked on the window. Liu, I have nothing to do with him. Don't listen to their nonsense, ever. I sat in silence. The door was locked. He couldn't get through to me. He's just Gao Wen, I snapped at Mo Jinchun. We're in a relationship, but have you ever been in one? If you keep going on like this, my husband will get the wrong idea. Gao Wen, it's better if we don't see each other. I'm married. The man in the car is my only husband, the one I've loved all my life. Mo Jinchun grabbed Gao Wen's arm and ordered him to leave. Shut up and leave before Su Ziding gets even more angry. The threat worked. Gao Wen obediently got into the car. When Mo Jinchun returned to us, his face was pale. What's wrong? Are you angry or scared? I asked. He looked into Su Ziding's eyes. I just sat there, staring at my fingers as if I didn't feel anything. Mo Jinchun realized I'd misinterpreted the situation. Su Ziding was afraid I'd misunderstood her. She knocked on the window. Luo Chen, it's not as you think. I sighed heavily. I loved Su Ziding and had no intention of giving her up to anyone else. I got out of the car, but Gao Wen was already gone. Turning around, I saw Su Ziding in tears. She was on edge, covering her ears and sobbing. Are you crazy? Stop it. People are looking at us. I tried to stop her, but she pushed me away. She clutched her throat. I'm sorry, she whispered so quietly I could barely make out the words. Su Ziding's pain was unbearable. She clutched her throat, then slapped herself in the face and collapsed. Blood flowed. My attempts to calm her were futile. She seemed possessed. Mo Jinchun watched in horror. Stop her, I shouted. Mo Jinchun rushed to help and intercepted her arms. I cupped her face in my hands, forcing her to look at me. Tian, listen. Whatever happens, we'll settle it with words, okay? She listened, but the sight of my tears only made her feel worse. She wanted to hurt herself so I wouldn't have to see her suffer. If you understand, nod. You're the best, Tianchen. She nodded, gently tugging at my shirt, wiping the blood from her lips. She gave in, letting go of her tears. I opened the door and hugged her tightly. Let's go home, we'll talk there. There's no point in making a scene in public. We got into the car in silence. She held my arm and leg tightly, afraid to let go. Miss Mo, Tianxin's in a bad mood, let's go. Mo Jinchun was still speechless, unable to speak as he watched Su Ziding's involuntary nodding. Our driver, a seasoned man, silently raised the soundproofing partition. I closed the car door and took Su Ziding's hand, not saying a word, just watching him intently. He covered his face with his hands, his shoulders shaking and tears streaming from his eyes. He gasped for breath, trying to speak, and I took out some tissues and wiped his face. I stroked his head soothingly. Don't cry, speak slowly, I'm listening. It seemed my tenderness helped him to relieve some of the burden of anxiety. He pulled himself together with difficulty and, taking a deep breath, explained, Gao Wen is a friend of mine from college. He's been persistently courting me for years, but I never felt anything for him. Our families were friends and many predicted a future together for us, but I myself never thought that we could be together. I hugged him, feeling the incredible strength hidden within him. Although his sobs had subsided, his body still trembled slightly. I'm sorry, Tianxin, he whispered. I just don't trust you enough. I know there's nothing between you. Don't be sad, okay? I lifted his chin and kissed him tenderly on the lips. When we returned home, the situation became frightening. Su Ziding began looking for any excuse to keep me in sight. I was locked in the house 24 hours a day, and he even kept watch at the bathroom door while I was inside. In the bathroom, I secretly replied to Fu Yu, see you after lunch, I need to get out of here quickly. This was the third time I'd felt his shadow outside the door. If I didn't come out, he'd start knocking insistently, and this time he knocked again. Liu, do you need help? What's taking you so long? What are you doing there? I was washing my hands and shouted loudly, I'm cooking. What else do you think you can do in the bathroom? Are you cooking? Are you hungry? He persisted. I quickly wiped my hands. As soon as I opened the door, Su Ziding pounced on me with questions. I hugged him and smiled. I'm not hungry. I was just worried you might get hungry, so I decided to start making dinner. He took my words too seriously. Su Ziding was ready to learn to cook right then and there, even though he'd never done it before. He started with the simplest thing, cooking rice. It seemed complicated at first, but once he realized he simply needed to rinse the grains and add water, the process became quite logical. He imagined cooking as something simple, just wash it and put it on the stove. But reality proved harsher. After several unsuccessful attempts at frying, he finally gave up on the idea of becoming a chef. Dinner ended up being prepared quickly by a professional chef. By the time I sat down at the table, all the dishes were already set out. After lunch, he arranged for a driver to take me and went to his office. At my request, Han Chuan rescheduled one of his meetings to make time for me. The car stopped at a cafe. Before I could get out, I saw a man with a distinctive profile and a sharp nose in the window. Fu Yu, I called out to him as I walked inside. He took the lost documents out of his bag and handed them to me. Look, here's our plan. Let's go, I said, and we walked out to the car. I took out my phone and forwarded him the file from my email. Fu Yu glanced at the screen and frowned. What's this? You found other companies' accounts? Seriously? I'm hungry for information. Isn't that simple? Who do you think I am? You're a true fan, Liu, but what's so upsetting about Liu Ruyan? You're literally ready to kill her. You may not believe it, but she owes me her life, I replied, getting out of the car. This sentence stunned Fu Yu. He turned around in the driver's seat and grabbed my hand. Tell the truth, what's going on? You have a relationship with him, Su Ziding. Why are you talking about life and death? Luo Chen, if you're hiding anything from me, I'll break your legs and throw you in jail. Don't think I'm joking. I know, don't worry, my hatred for him is a matter of life and death, and as for a relationship, the very thought of it makes me sick. It's impossible. By the way, I had a rather violent reaction to my own death in a past life. Almost everyone at the funeral saw it, but I don't remember Fu Yu and her sisters there. What were they doing then? Fu Yu, with her character, would never have left things as they were and gotten to the bottom of the truth if there hadn't been something strange about my death.